And welcome back to Botanic Adventures. This is episode 16, and I think it's been a month and a half since anyone has been on this server at all, myself included, besides for making that intro scene. That's mostly due to my wonderful IRL insanity. And we are back now, and I hope to get some stuff done. And today's adventure is actually to make a cake-powered mana production, because currently all we have automatic is either this from our bamboo farm, well full over the eons, and the couple of hydrangeas up in there, which isn't quite enough if you ask me. So, we will need to increase our mana production. We need these Cadence flowers. And what happens is if I put a cake near it, it's going to slowly eat it. And if there was space in one of these, start sending the mana that way. Unfortunately, these are full, so we don't get to see that part. So that's the easy part. Obviously, I will want a more massive storage system. We need more mana production. And that'll make a good bit of mana for us to have. So now the trick is to actually produce the cakes themselves. And of course, this is going to require a few farms, because we need wheat, we need sugar, we need to milk a cow, and what else? I'm missing something. Oh, we need eggs. So I need a chicken farm as well, and those will be scattered through this area within my chunk loaded area, so till about here we're okay. And that will hopefully help us get going. So now I have to start making the farms. So the first thing we're going to need is actually the drum of gathering. And if I have the recipe right, there we go. What this will do is when mana hits it, it should milk the cow if there's buckets around on the ground. So all I need is some source of mana. So as I said, we need some source of mana. We have a pulse mana spreader for now, aiming at the drum, and that'll make a redstone signal to send it. So now if I put a few buckets on the ground, and we send a pulse, you can see the buckets now become milk buckets. And I think all we need then is, like here, a hopper hook to collect those buckets and send them on. And we'll just need something to drop the buckets when we're getting ready. Okay, we're continuing on. As you see, I also set up a little chicken pen here. So what I'm going to want is this open crate to drop items into there, but I'm going to need redstone attached to this as well, and I'd rather it not all up here. So what I'm going to do is I have this red string container, which as you can see is living rock and a red string, sorry. And the red string is this recipe here, redstone, string, pixie dust, and ender air. So I think if I put it directly underneath, which, if I'm correct, is right there, we can bind it here. Okay, is that working? There we go. So you can see the string is now working there. With my wand out, it's connected to there. And what this means is if I take my hopper here, I can point it into the red stringed container. There we go. And then anything I put in here, let's say some living rock, will slowly go into the open crate up there and thus drop into the world. Very good. So the idea is the empty milk buckets will be piped into here, And then we can see when we get an empty milk bucket, and shortly after that, send a pulse to the drum. So I've been running into a small problem, and that's that this system I'm building has many items, such as these chicken eggs that I'm continuously picking up with my magnet. Now, I can take off the magnet, of course, but I'm going to forget, and I'm going to get an inventory full of stuff every time I walk through here. So what I'm going to do is make this flower, the Solgnolia, and that basically makes a region where the ring of magnetization is not active. It's a redstone root, blue, red, and 2 brown. So we come over here to the Petal Apothecary, and we put in a redstone root, a red, blue, and 2 brown, and some seed. And I'm going to make a few of these just so we have them around. Okay, and there we go. 16 of the flowers. Now, so I can place them anywhere like this, I'm going to have to make them the floating variants. But that's going to take another moment. So here we are. 8 floating flowers, 8 more floating flowers, and we can convert them. There we go. And toss some of the extras away. And now, I'm going to temporarily take off my magnet. And there should be some eggs in here, I assume. Yeah, there we go. And I'm just going to float one of these here. And we can actually put on the monocle and see the range of this thing. Ah, there we go. So it looks like it easily covers this thing. So let's put on the magnet again and see how well this works. Very nice. Okay, so now with item management a little better off, we need this, the Drum of the Wild, living wood, horn in the wild, 2 pieces of leather, fairly simple. Oh, and 1 more pasture seed. Okay, so I'm going to have to collect some living wood and make this. Be right back, folks. So now we have the Drum of the Wild, and from there, what it's going to be able to do is harvest all of the crops that are going to be in the main line here. And to help with the testing, though, I need another thing. I need a mana blaster. This will let me shoot a mana burst at the drums, just like we will a redstone mana spreader. So I'm going to go craft this now. So now I have my mana blaster. It can be used to trigger these drums. And that'll help in testing, but eventually I will need a redstone pulse, not a redstone mana spreader, pulse mana spreader. It was called redstone for a while. And that'll let me automate it. So another one of these will have to point wherever this drum ends up. Anyway, here's my next challenge. These need to be filled with seeds. And ideally, I want it balanced with seeds, because I'm okay if there's only 1 or 2 in each. But we need the seed to dispense to plant a seed, plant the wheat. And eventually they'll presumably fill up, but I don't have nearly enough seeds to fill all of them. So, for example, if I put some seeds in here, and we put a button here, you can see it plants the seeds automatically. Now, what's going to happen is the seeds are going to grow, and then we're going to send a pulse to the mana spreader here, which will harvest the seeds and let us do it again. Send another pulse. Now I don't know if... yeah, I thought so. So obviously we don't really want it to happen until they're fully grown. So we're going to have to estimate when roughly they're all grown. It doesn't have to be perfect. So the farms are sort of working. There's some possible issues. I'm noticing that due to the vanilla mechanic, these three seem to be growing slower, and that might continue as more seeds are on this side. So we might either need to adjust the timing or to adjust the layout of the farm. We'll see. That's something to consider. If I need to, I'll push more into the wall. But basically, the wheat grows in here. The Drum of the Wild harvests the wheat when it gets a pulse of mana every 14 minutes. And the Daffodil sends all the items this way, basically as if we had a water stream perpetually here. These are vanilla sorters to pull the wheat and send them down below. This is a hopper hook collecting the seeds, which gets fed into this loop. Oops, sorry. This loop of hoppers all around the farm. And basically what the loop of hoppers is letting happen is it to go into the hopper below and then into the dispensers. And the dispensers are then pulsed from the red string dispenser up here. So basically we pulse up here and that fires the dispensers down there. This redstone just locks these hoppers, so we don't need the full, the full 9 stacks in each of these. We only need 42 seeds per each dispenser. And that's how basically this farm's going. The furnaces are just solid blocks, really, but they, in theory, reduce lag of having so many open hoppers in the world. Finally, the wheat drops out the open crate here and into a sorting system down here. We're also teleporting all the eggs into the sorting system via the spectranthum. And that deals with eggs and wheat. Also, when this pulses, we have our mana spreaders with the bore lenses harvesting our sugarcane here. The line doesn't always fire the full length, but it seems to mostly catch up eventually. That's all collected by this hopper hook and then teleported again over there. This is also collecting the milk bottles, which will be controlled by down here. Basically, if we put 14 empty buckets into this hopper, a long pulse will be created to slowly empty the hopper into the open crate above via the red string container. And then when it's done emptying the hopper will lock again, and a pulse is sent up through this block to a to a pulse mana spreader to have the Drum of Gathering, which will milk the cow with all the buckets there, and will get collected into the system as well. Okay, so that's the farms roughly working. I do have to keep an eye on the growth rate of the 2 lines of wheat, but that's a possible future problem. Now we have to take all the items here, which obviously we're collecting more eggs than we need. Drop them, and I think we're going to send them across. Oops. We're going to send them across to this side, where we will create cakes and return then the buckets finally to the cow. So that's the next part of this process. So one of the challenges I have is I have this chest of sugar cane, and we don't really want sugar cane, we want the sugar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the sugar cane into this dropper here. Right next to dropper, we're going to have a crafty crate, which is simply some dreamwood planks and a crafting table here. And basically what I want to do is every time there's something in here, I want to pulse this. I want to pulse both of them, basically. So, how are we going to do this? Okay, as I said, it needs to be on a little timer circuit. This is simple stuff, really. So if you haven't ever seen this in vanilla before, I might not see them. Something changes the textures of these just slightly, and I wouldn't care, but it sometimes confuses me. There we go. If you haven't seen this before, it's a simple clock that will tick anytime anything is in this dropper, basically. And on top of that, what we need is to tick both of them. But this one should tick first, and then this should be at a delay. And we want the clock slower. Okay? I think I missed something here. So I'm a little wrong. It's not a redstone signal, it has to be hit with a wand of the forest. But we can do this also automatically with another dispenser. Okay, so now I have the other dispenser. That's the easy part. Now I just need a wand of the forest. And put the wand in here. Now I assume this is going to fail. Well, mostly. Perfect. Now we're making sugar. So what I'm thinking is the sugar now, as well as the other ingredients, are going to go into a water channel across to here where we will use them. I'm actually probably going to cheat. Instead of going entirely vanilla, which would be the water channel, I'm going to use a slime channel. Just because they should make a little less noise and are easier to place and set the direction of and stuff like that. But effectively, this is now crafting our sugar from the sugar cane above. So if you haven't used it before, these are your slime channels, and basically they go away from where you placed them. And they're from Tinker's Construct, and they're supposed to act very like a water stream. But unlike a water stream, as you can see, they can be placed anywhere without becoming a mess. And I can harvest them back up. So it's a water stream block. So while I could down here, of course, apparently that's now a hopper. I could down here, of course, down there, use actual water streams. I think it's going to make it a little easier to maintain using these slime channels. There we go. And what should happen is now when something drops from here, presumably a piece of wheat, it'll drop into the channel. and slowly make its way over. Okay, it's time for another flower. Redstone root, rune of earth, a yellow, and 2 orange. And any seed. Anyway, here we are. Now this flower, the Ranu Campus, it has a property we need for this project. Okay, so the flower goes here. Now this doesn't technically need mana, although it does have it in this case. And basically, with that setup, it'll use the framed Dreamwood, a block I am unlikely to use elsewhere in my build, and it'll put items onto it. So if I drop a Dreamwood plank, it should pick it up and place it there. So, with this in mind, we should be able to drop a cake on it and have it place the cake. Perfect. Now in theory, this we can now convert to mana and all is well. And we have cake in this horribly complex contraption. Okay, so we're going to start here at the farms where we have the ingredients coming in. Have a little trapdoor underneath. Effectively, we saw this last time. We craft a crate creating sugar, and we're just dropping the other 3 ingredients and into these slime channels. Now these could be water channels if you really wanted to only use vanilla and Botania, but I figured the Tinker's Construct slime channels were reasonable. The only warning is this had to be half slab because the slime channel will stop or go to a reverse. I have to experiment a little more if it has redstone power. So make sure you don't power the slime channel. Anyway, the items slowly travel on there into the hopper and red string container below, which puts it into chests up here. Simple enough. Now, these red string comparators are actually looking at the hoppers coming out of the storage chests. And basically, what we're doing is we're checking that there's a signal length of 4 minimum on each of them. And if they have that, if they don't have that, one of these torches will turn on. If we have the signal length of 4, all is well, and this is off. But if it is on, the signal comes this way, and up, up, there we go, up here. And we are comparing that with another signal from this side, which is telling us if that manifold is full, at least half full, I believe, is what it's set to. And if it is full enough to send that signal across, the manifold will also power this. So if either the manifold is already filled enough, or we're missing ingredients, this will turn off. And if this is off, we want to stop producing cakes. So we have a simple AND gate here. The hovering hourglass is giving our pulse. It's set to 3 seconds. And this is the other gate, which should always be on so long as we can accept more mana and we have enough ingredients. Okay, once the pulse happens, it's coming up here to our timer clock thing. And this is you can sort of see a loop of droppers and hoppers, and basically there's one item slowly going around the 10 droppers. Once every click, it'll move to the next dropper, and we can sort of see where it is from the lights on the outside. Now it gets fairly simple, even if I have wires all over the place to do it. Basically, these three need to trigger this red string dispenser to put out the milk. The next one here and the one over there need to come together to push out sugar, and so forth. So this one, oh sorry, this one here and the one on the corner over there is sugar. This is the egg one in the corner here, and of course we have 3 wheat and 1 knob. In other words, that one doesn't, when we're on that stage we don't do anything because we have 10 states and only 9 ingredients. Okay, basically, so we power in the correct order these 1, 2, 3, 4 red string dispensers, which power the actual droppers of the ingredients. We have eggs, we have milk, we have sugar, and we have wheat. That goes up into the various hopper chains here, which merge together, and if you're wondering the pattern, just to make sure whatever dropper goes, the number of hoppers it has to travel through is identical, and it fills out the crafty crate in your famous cake recipe. Once that's done, all the items, buckets and cake, drop onto the not the dreamwood, the Ranacropis, and I have that on framed dreamwood, and the only other framed dreamwood around is this, which is where the cake is placed by the flower. Finally, we eat the cake into mana, filling the mana pool. And thus is the full circuit here. Hopefully that explained it. There is some cleanup to do. Obviously I don't really want this hole in the wall. I'm probably going to make a carpenter's door so I can get in and out still. And maybe a ladder up from down here as well. I also need to put a recessive spark on here, some sparks on there to keep those filled, and a bunch of storage mana pools. Maybe I'm going to go down a block and just see it through glass here. And finally, when that's done, I do need to send mana back over to here. Right now, I've been manually filling it up. So also what's happening since the last clip is the milk is working. So the milk, once I'm stuck. The milk, once we are done with the cake, is sent into this hopper chain, into the open crate, and into another slime channel that goes this way. That slime channel does empty out over here, so every now and then we should see 3 buckets come by. And this is a little different. It goes into the hopper, then through the red string, red string containers, up into a hopper, another red string container, hopper, red string container, and then into the final hopper here. Basically, it was too long, so I had to do it in a couple of steps. But that is how this is filling up, with the buckets coming back from the cake craft. Anyway, I think that is it for today, and I hope you've enjoyed the creating of our new power plant, the farms there, and the actual cake crafting and power over there. Yeah, and hopefully we will return again next time. I think next is some adventure in the Twilight Forest, since this has been a very technical episode. But I hope you've enjoyed. Hope you've learned some new things about Botania, especially with all the new blocks. Certainly I haven't used all these flowers before, so it's an interesting challenge to wire it all together. And until next time, this is Easy Terry logging off. Please remember to leave a like or a comment if you either liked it or have suggestions moving forward, better ideas, other ideas, and maybe even a direction to go. But until next time, this has been Botanic Adventures and Easy Terry logging off. Bye bye.